friends get together so that they can try things. You're invited to this podcast so that you can try things. Now we will stop singing so that we can all now try this.
Hello and welcome to Now Try This, the podcast where two best friends get together every week to try something new that one person likes and the other person recommend. But this week is different. Why is this week different?
This week is different because this is powered by Patreon. Patreon.com/NowTryThisCast. We have a great community there where $5 tier members suggest things every month. And then everybody, just the dollar tiers, every single person gets to vote on what we do every month. And this week they have spoken and we are doing Hawkeye, the Marvel new series Hawkeye.
It was very loud this week with how much they spoke. There was a lot of voting happening and everyone voted for the same thing pretty much. Hey, Fear God of Death, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for joining us on the Twitch that we stream every Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every week to record this podcast live, and then we re-release it podcast form later on that you can subscribe everywhere you get paid podcasts. Now, Marcus, here's my thing.
What thing?
Here we are, leaving our fate in the hands of our fans and our listeners, and they've given us Hawkeye. Now, I've watched Hawkeye. I watched Hawkeye before I had to. I am a Marvel zombie from way back. I consume everything Marvel, but we weren't going to do it on the show. We usually don't try to do too many Marvel things on the show because then we'd be a Marvel-based show and then there's too many Marvel things.
Yep.
We can't do it. So, guys, we're going to talk about all of our thoughts, all Marvel-related. Now that we have the chance, we'll talk about all the series we've watched, the movies we watched, the recent things. For the most part, we will let you know if we spoil a significant thing like Spider-Man No Way Home, but assume we're going to spoil most Marvel things as we speak about them now.
Nick, as a big fan, we're both big Marvel fans, both big comic fans, been into it for most of our lives. Are there any Marvel movies
you remember your first
missed?
comic?
I do.
What was it?
It was issue 1 of Giant Size X-Men.
What the fuck? Why is that? Whoa, hold on. Hold on. That's like the comic. That's the comic that made X-Men what it is.
That's why I like comic books. It was good.
Wow. Who let you read that as a
my dad had a collection.
How did you get your hands
he was a
on that?
comic book collector, so he had a huge collection of comic books.
Christ.
So I would just go
That's
sneak
wild.
into his comic book collection and read them. And then also when I was sick, I would get my mom would buy me a comic book to read. And so I liked being sick because I got like Ghost Rider and Punisher and stuff. It was fun.
Oh my goodness. Somebody should have given you what I got for my first comic, which was an Aladdin comic book. It was issue 8 of Aladdin. And the genie had a genie convention to meet all the other genies, and they all came. And then it was like, oh, why don't we usually have genie conventions? Why do they only have one every 1,000 years? And then you find out every major disaster, every world ending event, it was always a genie convention. And
That's
that was what
pretty
the
good.
comic was about.
9/11.
It was good. It was funny. Yeah. When I was 6 years old and Aladdin and the Braid came out, yeah, that's what was going on. But my first, I would say, real comic was a random issue. It's weird that yours was so significant. I feel like most people's are a random issue of something. Yeah, like out of nowhere, you know? And mine was a random issue of Excalibur. It was like Excalibur number 72. It was just like a 187. It was just a random Excalibur. It made no goddamn sense. Now looking back, I know who the characters were, but like it was like not the X-Men. It was like X-Men adjacent, like Kitty and Nightcrawler there, but they were with these British people, and I didn't understand it at all. And it also, I didn't know it was British at the time when I read it because there's no accents while I'm reading the comic. So it was completely lost on me, but I couldn't get enough. Fear God of Death is saying Spawn was his first in the chat.
Hell yeah, Spawn's great.
How inappropriate.
No, Spawn's good. It's family friendly.
There's a lot of tits and a lot of violence in Spawn.
Yes, there's a lot of violence in Spawn. It's you know Spawn, right? You know his origin?
Yeah, he's like here, let me explain it, then you can correct me.
Yeah, sure.
So Spawn is some kind of hitman dude that used to work for the government, but now is like is like a hired contractor, and like he like pisses off the wrong person, or he like gets on an assignment and makes someone mad, so he gets killed. But when he goes to hell, they're like, nah, you're too useful, and they send him back up, and he's supposed to be the general or the big warrior of hell, but he's like, because he's like bad, but he's not like that bad because he's got like a kid or something. So that's Spawn, right? Is that
honestly, that's kind of close enough. I'm now that I asked, I was so confident that I knew what Spawn was, and now that I'm thinking about it, I don't super remember. But basically, a guy dies. He was fucked over by his best friend. He comes back to life by making a deal with Malebolgia, the devil. And
you know the name.
and when he comes back to life, I feel like he finds out that his best friend who killed him also started fucking his wife. And so he's with them.
They're with each other now.
They're dating.
Wow.
And so now he's this gross, ugly monstrosity who has to live among like the filth of New York City, or wherever he's from.
And thank God all these Hawkeye stands came and got Spawn lore in there.
Well, I originally was going to ask you before you asked me that, is there a Marvel movie you missed or a Marvel like show? Is there anything as part of the new MCU that you've missed?
Nope.
Really?
Yeah.
I haven't watched Eternals. And
you're a loser and a not real fan, a poser.
Iron Man 3.
I also think you said Thor 2, right?
I saw Thor 2 eventually.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
And I've never seen the Inhumans TV show. I skipped that one. And Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
I thought we weren't counting those because nobody does. I stopped watching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. maybe before the last 2 seasons, and I also skipped the Inhumans. So
Agents
I guess I haven't watched
S.H.I.E.L.D. is not part of the MCU anymore. Like it changed midway through or something.
And I also didn't watch the last season of Daredevil and the second season of Jessica Jones.
Oh, and I never watched Iron Fist. I skipped Iron Fist.
At all?
I skipped all of Iron Fist.
Oh, you really need to watch Iron Fist. It's very bad.
No,
it's like entertaining how bad it is. It doesn't make any goddamn sense. It's weird. It's wild.
So that being said, Marvel used to have their whole Netflix universe and everything like that, right? So now that they're doing Disney Plus and they're refocusing their efforts on like new TV shows, I do have to give them props because their new thing is good. Their new TV shows are consistently good. Now,
let's go through them.
We'll get into it because I don't think they're great. I think they are good, but I don't think they're great.
Most people would disagree with you.
Yeah. What about you? Do you disagree?
I think it's hard. I think in Marvel in general, the thing that I love the most about it is when they take big swings. I think the Avengers movies, Avengers 1 and Avengers Infinity War and Endgame, big swings. I think Avengers 2 is safe, so it's mediocre. I think the Ant-Man movies are good, so they're a little mediocre. I think, the newest Spider-Man, I think it's a big swing, so I think it's very good. I think Black Panther, I thought that was a big swing overall, so I think that was pretty good. Captain Marvel, no swings at all. The worst movie I think in the whole entire franchise. That's
I don't think it's the worst one.
About why,
but
it is. It's 100. I will argue with you about it because I think it's not one of those things where we're all like, oh, I have an opinion. No, I don't really. No, I think Captain Marvel is the worst thing in the MCU, and I could totally talk to you this whole episode about.
I hated Iron Man 2 a lot.
Yeah, but that was just mediocre.
It was right. I don't know. It was bad.
It
was
just mediocre.
I feel like
it's just mediocre.
We're like that. Like I think Captain Marvel was mediocre, and that's its biggest offense.
No, I think it's bad.
But I do genuinely think Iron Man 2 was a bad movie.
Interesting. I also feel like Iron Man 2 felt like a random. It felt like Iron Man 1 was a famous comic book writer, had his arc, finished his arc, and then Bozo number 2 had to pick up where he left off, and he made a couple arcs nobody cared about, but you still kind of read it.
Yeah.
And then eventually that led to Civil War or something, and it was important, right?
Yeah.
Like that's how it felt to me.
Yeah.
Whereas Captain Marvel felt like people who didn't love comic books made that movie.
Like I could see that argument.
Like old era comic books movies, which I think are deeply problematic and flawed, though sometimes fun. Like I don't hate the Daredevil movie. Yeah, it's not good.
Yeah,
but I don't hate it.
Or Venom, the new Venom movies. I feel like old era superheroes, but they're fun. I think they're fun.
Oh man, some people really liked this. Said that about the second one, and I would grossly disagree with that fact. Have you watched it?
The second one?
Yeah.
Oh, I saw the second one. Yeah, all the parts with Tom Hardy were fun. The rest of it was.
But he's only in half of the movie, and it's a 90-minute movie, so that's 45 minutes. He's not in.
Yeah. I went after that movie. I was spending like a half hour complaining to Daron about like how much they messed up Carnage.
It's such a waste.
Yeah.
Who was the main villain in Iron Man 2 Fear God of Death? Oh, well, great job asking. It was Whiplash was the B tier villain, but the A tier villain was Hammer. His name was Hammer. That was his
Justin
last
Hammer?
name. Something Hammer. Justin Hammer?
I think so. Yeah.
You're great.
I remember it because I hated it.
Anyway, so I think I forgive Marvel a lot because I think what they're doing is so lofty. I don't think you can hit the mark every time, because when they do hit the mark, I think it's super interesting and exciting.
Yeah.
And I think I actually think that the other 3 main live action TV series up until now, I really enjoyed. I thought they were pretty great.
Mhm.
I think there were moments of mediocrity, and I think there were things that went wrong.
Yeah.
And we can talk about them really quick, but like, I mean, we could just start at the beginning. The first one
Sure.
was WandaVision. What did you think of
WandaVision
WandaVision?
was great. I had a lot of fun with it. And then I think the end was kind of like, I don't want to say it was upsetting, but it felt as if there were no consequences for a superhero doing a big thing, like a big bad
Yeah.
thing. And I feel
Yeah.
like that is kind of like shitty that there weren't outside of the own like TV show consequences yet for a thing. And
Yeah.
there might be
Which doesn't mean
later.
there won't be. Yeah.
There might be later, but even in the trailer for the new Doctor Strange movie, he sees Wanda and is like, hey, and she's like, oh, you're coming here about the town thing? And he's like, no, I don't give a shit about that. So like, even then there's like, when it's like, oh, there's a chance for consequences, he's like, I don't give a shit, fucking do whatever.
Well, that's a very Doctor Strange thing to say. I
Yeah.
think there will be. I think there
Okay.
will be. WandaVision was so popular. I
Mhm.
don't think they're completely done with their those consequences.
Yeah.
I'm hoping, because I
Yeah.
agree with you. The whole show was almost perfect besides that last episode. I thought it was so fun. It was so different. It took a big swing. It had a take. It was funny. It was like, we're trying to do this different
Yeah.
thing, and they tried to do it, you know? And I
Yeah.
thought the supporting cast in it was like really great. You know, Vision for the first time got to do stuff and was funny and interesting. The kids showing up was heartbreaking and great. The new Captain Marvel, her showing up, she was fantastic.
Mhm.
And then the Shield agent and the old Thor buddy all of them teaming up. I was like, this is what you get when you
Yes.
combine all these universes. It feels
Mhm.
so good,
Yeah.
right? It feels like
Yeah.
a comic.
Yeah. And then we had Captain America, which
I think I liked it more than most people.
I really didn't like. There were like 1 or 2 parts I thought was like, oh, this is cool. But overall, I
Yeah.
really didn't like it.
I think the problem with it was just overall, it just needed like one more thing I think it just needed to be consequential in some way.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because that being said, the US agent stuff, fantastic. Really love that.
It was fun.
Sam wrestling with having to be the Black Captain America, like
That was
not
great.
wanting to like
even
that question of what is your responsibility of being the minority, like
Yeah.
he is given that responsibility unjustly, just by being black and being in his field of being a superhero. He has to shoulder everything.
Yeah.
And that sucks. And it wrestled with that. And I thought the Winter Soldier stuff going, his whole journey, I thought was great. Like, I think the only thing for me that was weak is like the villain and the machinations were very generic overall.
It was very generic. The Flag Smashers were like, okay, cool. Like, I don't care. Captain America has more interesting villains that you could have like had be a part of this.
Yeah.
Even just like a resurgence of Red Skull, like handling the sort of like the idea that he has to be a black Captain America and what that means for a black man to represent all of America as the superhero, and how like he has to contend with the fact that like the government itself doesn't want him representing America. They want this like white guy to be doing it. Like that is interesting, but it felt like it was handled in a way that it could have been done much better and much more impactful and a bigger swing. Just like you were talking about earlier, you know, like you can have a reincarnation of Red Skull come up and like these racist groups, and that those could have been the villains, like a new Red Skull or some shit like that. Because they do that in the comic all the time. They bring that motherfucker back like constantly.
Always.
So they could have had something like that, and him having to contend with, he has to fight these Nazis that are being accepted in mainstream media, and also be black in America and Captain America. Like that would have been very interesting to see. But
yeah, I don't disagree. I think that, but for me, that was the only weak part. I think for me, the fact that any of the other stuff happened at all, and that Anthony Mackie and Sebastian Stan were so charismatic and fun and interesting, and their dynamic was so cool, and the action honestly was really good in it.
Yes.
It was really, really good.
Yeah. But
you know? And I think, go ahead.
Not having a good villain like the Flag Smashers, that was a good chunk of the show, and that being just straight up bad is like it hurt the show a lot in my eyes.
I see that. I think there was enough there without that, because I also another thing that I didn't think Marvel would ever do. I just really didn't think they would. I really thought it was just too crunchy in terms of lore and too like, I don't know. I just didn't think they touched it. Is Keith Baker's run, which I have all of. I think you got it for me, didn't you?
The Truth.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah. I think so. I love that series. I love the fact that the first Captain America was black, and that thing in the comics that Keith Baker wrote, and they did that, and now that is lore in the MCU.
I
and
love
like
that.
That's really
huge.
really amazing, you know. And that leads to what I've been saying for. I've been saying since as long as you've known me, and Marvel movies have been coming out, I've been saying, you know, these Marvel movies are cool, but they need to go younger, and they're going to introduce the Young Avengers. Maybe not now, maybe in 5 years, maybe in 7 years, Marcus, but mark my words, and everyone be like, yeah, okay, Nick, you fucking comic book loser, president of Comic Book Club, get out of here with your fucking comics. We met Patriot. He was there. They cast him.
Yeah, we've met a lot of them. We've met a lot of the Young Avengers. I mean, in the series of Hawkeye, which we are getting into tangentially.
We met Hawkeye. We met Wiccan and Speed from Wanda Vision. The only main one we haven't met is Hawkling, which maybe we'll get into.
We met Stature because Stature's Ant-Man's daughter.
That's all the main from the original series.
There's more of the side
later.
Ones were introduced, right? Weren't there?
Oh yeah. There have been other people like America Chavez is coming. She's been in it. Things like that. Miss Marvel. Strange. They're probably gonna include her just because she's young.
Yes.
But also the weirdest thing about Young Avengers is they are introduced with Iron Lad, which is introduced as an Iron Man from the future, but he's a kid that like forms the Young Avengers, and you find out, a la Loki creating the original Avengers, it's King the Conqueror.
Yeah.
As a kid, find out that he's going to be an asshole and goes and recruits some young heroes to try to like stop that from happening. And we got King.
Yeah. So we could get a young King, which would be cool.
Which we go to Loki. Oh, what'd you think of Loki?
I liked the show a lot. I think it was really well written and fun. I don't know. I remember being like, I want to say just whelmed with some of it, where I was just like, I am not impressed or unimpressed necessarily. I'm curious to see what will happen, but I don't need to keep watching. I felt like that for some of it, like the middle bit, I think. And then towards the end, it really turned around and I got engaged.
I think for me, I think they weren't sure what to do with some of it. Like, I think they wanted to make it almost like an Office spoof where they were in the place, and they also wanted to make this big cosmic adventure, so they split the difference. And sometimes it felt like they were splitting the difference. So like, it felt like they wanted to do a thing where they went to tons of different universes to meet tons of different Lokis to do tons of stuff, and they didn't do it. But it also felt like a money thing. It felt like, okay, well, we want to have that show, and then they took out 6 of those scenes and threw in scenes at the time place because that's way cheaper because they already made it. That's what it felt like.
I think
to me,
here's my problem so far with all of the Marvel shows. It starts with a big idea that lets our minds run wild, and then they do it in the smallest scale.
Yes.
And so that's why all of them, even though they're good, I feel like in the end, I am always disappointed because it feels like I was promised more, even just conceptually. The fact that like Captain America was dealing with all these social issues that I did want to see, but then they dealt with it in like a small little baby way or a Disney way. And then this like, oh, I want to see them like jump across all the different universes and interact with all the different timelines and the various variants. And then we got like one episode with like 5 Lokis, you know?
But when that episode showed up, how do we feel?
It was great. It was awesome.
It was dope.
But at the same time, it's that small little baby Disney version of things. And it keeps happening. It even happens with Hawkeye. Hawkeye was very excited to see all these big moves happen. And then it was like, oh, actually, it's going to be like this small little baby thing. And then at the end, we're just going to kind of like tie everything in a nice little bow.
I think that's I think that kind of falls on us though, right? Because I think these TV shows, their job isn't to do what the movies do. They're not trying to make 6-episode movies. They're trying to do the in-betweens. They're the tie-in comics. They're like, you go watch Civil War and then you go read Fantastic Four, Spider-Man, Hulk, Civil War. And it's like, what else is going on?
But we both read the comic books, right? Like, I'm sure, have you read this comic book itself?
Yeah, Hawkeye, it's very good.
So like, you can see this. But like when you read those side comic books, Nick, like, yeah, in your mind, like they're not as big as Civil War, but those side comic books are the reason you fall in love with comics.
Yeah, that's a great point. That's a fantastic
You know,
point.
like
Yeah,
you
you're right.
didn't fall in love with comic books reading
Mm.
fucking Civil War and or Secret Invasion. You fell in love because you were
That's
just
how you
reading a
get in.
random issue of
That's how you
Spider-Man.
get in.
Yeah, sure. But it's not
But
why
then you
fall in love
find
with
some
it.
random little corner of the universe and you go read a Young Avengers comic and you're like, why is this so amazing? I feel for these
Yeah,
kids.
you
Oh my God. You go
care
read
about that
Runaways and you're
stuff.
like, these children.
So it's like they're trying to imitate that, but without the heart and soul that I feel like most comic books are able to have.
Do you think it's because those comics happen because it's a singular vision? Like Matt Fraction is a fantastic writer. He's written lots of stuff. I love his Sex Criminals comic. I love his run on X-Men. He's the one that introduced them being off of San Francisco and all that. You know, I love him as a writer. And it was basically like they weren't doing anything for Hawkeye. And he was like, yo, can I get Hawkeye? And they're like, yeah, sure, Matt Fraction.
Yeah.
And he's like, cool. And he went and said this heartfelt story. And now it became so huge. Then it made spinoffs and then yada, yada, yada. Here we are. But
Here's
this
why I
is
think's
like
happening.
a pale that's the Marvel exec saying, hey, now is the time for a Hawkeye show. Can someone do it? And someone's like, yeah, sure, I can do it. And they try to make it happen like that reverse way, right?
Here's what I sort of think's happening. And I could be wrong, but this is my theory. You know, and this is a perfect example. What you said is exactly right. You have writers that take side characters and write some of the best writing that they've ever written. Jeff Lemire's run of Animal Man is fucking amazing.
Oh,
I absolutely love that shit. You know,
Bendis with Jessica Jones, iconic.
Fucking amazing. You
Iconic.
have these writers who take these characters and they're given more freedom than they would on anything else. Because then Jeff Lemire, after that, he went on to write, like, I think he was hired on the X-Men at some point and writing that, and it wasn't that good.
He's been one of the premier writers, and he's still fun and interesting. But there's this status quo, big idea, so many machination things that you can't do.
So
right?
You have these writers who are writing these beautiful, intimate stories with these like random characters who don't matter, who they end up making matter. And I think it's a similar
Booster
thing
Gold is a
happening
great
with
example.
Disney. Where it's like when you're writing a show for Disney, you don't get to make a small, intimate thing that doesn't matter and where you get a lot of freedom. You're making the big product. And so there's a lot of like stipulations. There's a lot of like money involved. There's a lot of business shit. So you don't get to do everything. It
still happens because that's how I felt about The Mandalorian, right? When Jon Favreau started The Mandalorian, nobody gave a shit. They were like, yo, I got this idea for this thing. He didn't have that much money. They didn't do a A-list star. He was just like, let me do this thing. And they're like, yeah, sure, Jon Favreau, you've done us good so far for Lion King and Iron Man, so go ahead. And then it's iconic, and now there's a million spinoffs, and then there's a million things, and a million people care, and I don't care anymore.
That's a little different. I guess you're right, but I would say that's a little different because Dave Filoni came on, and Dave Filoni is the king of Star Wars, and he like really knows how to fucking do Star Wars right. And I feel like when Jon Favreau was doing a lot of it by himself, it wasn't that good. And then Dave Filoni came on and made the second season, I think, really fucking great.
Oh, I'm not even talking about the second season. I'm only talking about the first. I haven't watched the second.
I didn't hate all of the first season. I really didn't like the first season. I skipped episodes.
Oh, I liked it.
Oh, okay.
I liked it because it was just because it was so random. It was Star Wars for me should feel almost a little random, you know, like all those little pocket stories. And Marvel should feel the same. It should feel like a comic book, right?
Yeah.
It should feel like we go over here with Hawkeye and all these crazy things happen to Hawkeye. So let's get to the Hawkeye show now. Overall, it sounds like you felt the same way you felt about all these things about it. But what were you expecting to get out of a Hawkeye TV show?
What was I expecting out of a Hawkeye TV show?
What were you hoping for? Nothing? Did you not give a shit?
No.
Where'd you start?
So my favorite, I mean, you know me. Some of my favorite arcs
know me.
Comic books
yes,
are
I do know you.
my favorite comic books are like the little side stories that like Jeff Lemire's Animal Man, like when Booster Gold, like all that shit, when they take the characters that don't matter as much as like Superman, Batman, Spider-Man, all these mainstream ones, and you take those and you write something really cool and unique. And that's what Matt Fraction did on the graphic novel that this is based on. And I was excited for that. I was like, oh, great. I get to see this on the screen, a small little intimate Hawkeye story that's going to be a lot of fun and give Hawkeye something to do that is interesting.
Yeah, I will say, because just so we don't forget, he did co-create the comic with Oja. Oja was a huge part of the aesthetic and the art style.
Oh
of
yeah,
the
and they got no
him.
money, right, from the TV show, which is a huge fucked up thing. That's really fucked up.
Well, I don't know if any of them did. I don't know if
Matt Fraction is a producer. He's listed as a producer on the.
Well, they
TV
let
show.
him come be a producer, but
that probably comes with some money.
Sure, 100%. But he probably came in. I'm sorry, I said Oja. It's Aja.
Aja, yeah. Aja got nothing. As far as I know, he got like.
And his aesthetic is like the whole thing.
Yeah, they're using
from the font
the aesthetic.
he made to the costume to the whole thing.
They're using their aesthetic for the show too, which is very fucked up.
But regardless, yeah, no, I'm in the same camp as you. I love kid characters, family stories, side things as well. You know, Runaways, Young Avengers, Teen Titans, Young Justice. Those are some of the classics that I love the most. So for me, what I was hoping was for what we got from the comic, which was, I think they described the Hawkeye comic that he made as Hawkeye's day off from the Avengers. What he is doing on his day off from the world finishing event. He goes and he shoots arrows and he saves the world from aliens. What does he do when he does do that? In the comic, he doesn't have a kid and everything, kids and everything. So they already had to go a little different in the show. But it's about him, what happens in his day-to-day life. He's just a person. And, you know, they humanize him. And I think, I don't know why, I didn't get that completely from the show, and I think it's because the show was trying to do so many things. Hawkeye felt like a side character.
I agree. I think Hawkeye felt like a side character, but Nick, I gotta tell you something.
Oh, please tell me something.
I hate Hawkeye and I hate Jeremy Renner. I just genuinely do. There's nothing to be done about it. I think he's kind of a piece of shit.
Do you have any reason to think that? Or you just look at him and you're like, you're a piece of shit.
First off, yes. I look at him and I am like, I will catch an STD just if I look too long at him.
Whoa! Unwarranted. Unwarranted.
Nick, have you heard of the Jeremy Renner app?
No. What is this?
So Jeremy Renner started an app for his fans to go on and like pictures of him and pay money so they could like his pictures and send him messages. You had to pay extra money, and all it did was feed from Instagram. Now, apparently, he claims he didn't know anything about the app. But even in his apology, the wording of it seems like he knew that the app existed and he was maybe even making money from it. But his intentions were different. And I think it's the kind of thing that people just got mad about it.
Hear me out. You got famous, right?
Yes.
You got famous. You were in Hurt Locker, Oscar-winning movie, and you're like, yo, people think I'm hot. I'm hot shit. I'm going to be the next Tom Cruise. And that's what people are telling you. Jeremy Renner isn't saying this. People are telling Jeremy Renner. I don't know if you remember 10 years ago. People were telling Jeremy Renner he would be the next Matt Damon, Tom Cruise. And then someone says, yo, you're hot shit. You're about to get all these deals. You're about to be in the new Mission Impossible. You're about to be in the new Bourne. You're about to do all this shit. And he's like, yeah, it's really cool. Yeah. What about this? I make an app so people can interact with you now, and I'll give you like 10% to use your name. Yeah, sure. That sounds good. Who wouldn't say yes, Marcus?
But it wasn't started 10 years ago.
When was it started?
I don't know, like 5 years ago.
Damn. Okay, so let me backtrack.
No.
10 years ago, everyone was telling you would be the next action star, and then 5 years later happened. None of it happened. You almost single-handedly stopped.
I'm an Avenger,
and everyone doesn't care about you. And then someone says, "You see the writing on the wall." He does not. I don't know if he gets $1 million.
He has lots of money.
He gets the writing is on the wall. The writing is on the wall for your career and says, "Hey, I have a way for you to get back on top. You can still be the next Tom Cruise. I'm going to use your likeness to do this app. I'll cut you 10%, and it's going to make people care about you again." What do you say, Jeremy? You say yes.
I say no. You know why? Because our lovely fans on Patreon support us as a podcast. And you can too if you don't already. So come on down and join the Patreon where you can vote on topics like Hawkeye.
Patreon.com/nowtrythiscast. So
also
do the musical career next.
Jeremy. Also, Jeremy Renner has a music career that is very bad. It's very bad music. It's
Marcus,
he just looks scummy.
Everybody tries. Why is he scummy? He tried to be he's a musician. He tried to make it, he didn't make it.
None of the Avengers have an app where you have to pay to like their pictures that they post on Instagram.
Yeah, because they popped off.
He could have popped off too.
Marcus, Marcus, I'm sorry. Did I not just see on? Did I not just see on? Hold on. Did I not just see on Instagram an app advertised to me that is from the trainers of Chris Hemsworth, and I could look like him if I sign up for the app? What do you mean they don't have apps? They're all doing this shit. But he's just not as famous
or not as good at making them. And Nick, you're saying not pop off. This man has multiple movies and a TV show based on him.
What do you mean?
He has a TV show called Hawkeye. Jeremy Renner is the star.
And he's not the main character.
Of Hawkeye.
No, he's not. Hailee Steinfeld is. Fight me on it. Tell me she is not the main character. She opens the show. She's in every episode. Screen time more than Jeremy Renner.
Good. It was the only reason I could watch the show. The only reason I could watch the show is because Hailee Steinfeld was more of a protagonist than Hawkeye.
Why are you making me defend Jeremy Renner? I don't especially like Jeremy Renner. I think he's fine.
No,
but you're like destroying him, so I have to like defend it.
I'm gonna use this as blackmail to be like you love Jeremy Renner.
I know if he comes out that like something really bad happened, I apologize for everything fighting him. But besides that, I think we both agree though that in spite of all of that, if they made this show what I think we both thought it might have been, we would have been like, that was cool, Jeremy Renner. That was cool.
would have if he had a chance to turn around.
It's not his fault.
He had a chance to make this good. And he did it.
Marcus, disagree with me if you want.
Sure.
But I would say Jeremy Renner.
What's that name again?
Jeremy Renner is good in this show. I don't think the show asks him everything he's capable of doing. I was watching a review and someone, I think it was Stuxman, Chris, whatever his name is. I don't know, whatever. I was watching him and he described the beginning. Yeah. And he described it as the beginning of the show. Hawkeye doesn't want to be there. So it seems like Jeremy Renner doesn't want to be there. This show doesn't set him up to do all these amazing things. He doesn't have big lavish action pieces. They're small and quiet. They do not give him big emotional outbursts to have. He has no arguments with anybody. But I will say those small moments of connection the show does give him, he does squeeze them for everything they got. Every time that he's there with young Hawkeye girl, she's called Hawkeye, so this is confusing. I'll say Kate Bishop. So Kate, when she's with Kate Bishop, and there are those heartbreaking moments like "Don't believe in me, kid," or like he's there on Christmas and they're like connecting. I buy those scenes. I think Jeremy Renner does a good job in this show.
Do you genuinely buy the scenes where he is regretting letting Black Widow die? Do you, as an actor, do you buy those scenes? You do?
Yeah.
I don't believe you.
What are you talking about? He's sad. His best friend died. Marcus, his best friend died.
Is he sad? I think this show is harder for me because I think he should have died during that scene in the Avengers. I think he should have died.
That was the point of the scene.
Sure. But afterwards,
Endgame is a genius movie.
Afterwards, I was like, he should kill himself. Like, I think
Marcus, he agrees with you. What are you talking about?
Himself. He's still alive.
He has a family.
I don't care.
You fucker. You fucker. You son of a bitch. He's got two cute ass boys and a little girl.
They don't need him.
And a wife that's so sweet.
They have a good mom. She's great.
She speaks German over the phone. You think she's not doing sex talk all the time with them, but she's like a great wife. She's wonderful. You don't leave that. Marcus, all joking aside.
Yeah.
I do think that his take on the grief of it, to me, it looks like he does want to kill himself. It looks like he thinks he should have died. He thinks he's not worthy. And the whole point of the show is him realizing that it's not about worth. Him not being worthy of the gift that Natasha has given them is regardless of the fact that now he has to live the life that she's given him.
I get
that's
that.
the arc of the show.
I get that. But it was just a painful reminder that he should have died. Like it was the whole show was just a painful reminder that I was like, you're right. Jeremy Renner, you're right. You should be dead. Go die now.
Wow.
I literally at the end of the show, I was like, he should have died at the end of the show and passed on the torch. So I don't have to watch any more Hawkeye.
And isn't it a wonderful actor that is making you want the main character to die with his performance? Nice. Good job, Jeremy Renner. You're crushing it. Crushing it. Here's to you. Can we let's go off of Jeremy Renner for a minute.
Okay.
And can we please talk about Hailee Steinfeld?
Yes.
Because she is one of my favorite actresses, bar none. And she has been for years. I don't know if you've heard me talk about how much I love her, but since I was just 17, when I've seen that she can fucking act, I've seen her doing all these things. She is funny. She is sweet. She can sing. She can do all these things. And I love her. And then when she got cast, I was like, perfect casting.
She is great. She is incredible. I think that she really holds the show together. I think she's funny.
Yeah.
She's interesting to watch. She's entertaining. I'm very excited to see them use her more. And hopefully using her more means using Jeremy Renner less.
Stop it. They
Just
did
all
at the end of the movie.
positives. All positives.
At the end of the show, he passed the torch off to her.
I think
stopped.
so.
I got an idea. He's obviously going to say, you should be Hawkeye.
Yeah, 100%.
Which in the comics is what it is. It's kind of confusing sometimes.
Yes.
I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
But they are both Hawkeye. Well, okay. Well, she's great. She's fantastic.
Nick, who's your favorite
I think-
Archer of the two? Which one do you like more? Do you like Hailee Steinfeld more as Hawkeye, or do you like Jeremy Renner as Hawkeye?
Well, I'm in love with Hailee Steinfeld. So
You
I
pick
pick her.
Hailee Steinfeld. Do you have any
Yeah.
other Archers that you like?
Marcus, don't do this. I don't fucking know Robin Hood and shit. I don't know. I don't give a shit about Robin Hood. No, I only like Hailee Steinfeld.
Well,
bar
we're
none.
here to test your knowledge of fictional
Okay.
archers in our game today.
Roll the clip.
Now try this trivia. Now try this trivia. Now trivia. Now trivia. Now trivia this.
Okay, we are back. Nick, today I didn't name this game. I'm going to call it Pixels. RZA Best Hawkeye.
I don't know
Who's
what that
RZA?
means. Who's RZA?
Who's RZA?
Who's RZA? We're both about to Google it. Who's
Yeah,
RZA?
I'm Googling RZA Hawkeye.
RZA Archer.
Oh, yes. RZA Hawkeye from Fullmetal Alchemist is the best Hawkeye.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, yeah,
yes,
yeah,
yes,
right.
we
Yes,
have seen.
yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Okay.
I always call her Hawkeye.
I
I've never
call
called
her
her
Hawkeye,
RZA.
yeah.
That's a deep cut. That's a
That's a
deep
good
cut, old
cut.
man Ram.
That was
What
good.
a weeb. Okay, Marcus.
We're all weaves here, baby. Okay, Nick,
Yes, this
I'm
is
going to
true.
show you a pixelated picture. There's 3 levels. I'm going to show you a picture very pixelated of a famous archer. If you don't get it, then I'm going to move down to the medium level, and then I will go into the easy level. Each level,
Okay.
if you guess what the archer is, you get points. So it starts off, if you get the hardest level, you get 5 points. If you get the medium level, you get 2 points. And if you get the easiest level, you get 1 point. So there's a total,
Okay.
there's 6. There's a total of 30 points available, and you just have to get 12 to win.
You just pull that out of your ass. Okay.
I was going to say
Well,
10, but that seems too low.
Last question is are you giving me any other hints?
Nope. I'm going to show you the picture of the archer. So I am pulling up the first picture now. It's going on the...
Oh, Nick Nieves just subscribed using his Prime. Thank you so thank you so much for doing that. You guys can also use your Prime to sign up for Twitch and help us keep the show alive.
Okay, Nick, I'm putting it on the screen now. Do you
Now-
see the picture? Is this good? Should I make it bigger?
Marcus, that's just a lot of orange.
It's a picture of a famous archer, famous fictional archer.
Now, is this all live action or it could be anything?
It could be anything.
Okay, so what do we got? We got Robin Hood, we got Katniss Everdeen, we got Hawkeye, Kate Bishop, there's a lot of different Robin Hoods. I wonder if you divided them by actors portraying the parts. Who else has shot a bow? Who else shoots a bow? That one girl in Inuyasha.
That's
she
a good
shoots
one.
a bow a lot.
That might be on here.
I see a
Anime
lot
is
of
on
orange.
here.
I see a lot of orange and earth colors. Do I get any other hints, or
Nope.
is it just the pixel?
You got, I should put a time limit on it.
No, I'm fine. So
I'm going to move on to the
here's
next
thing.
one.
No, I haven't even guessed yet.
You don't
I'm about
guess
to call
each
you out
level.
before you do this. I'm calling you out because you messed up the
Why?
last game that we played.
Did I?
You missed a crucial Samuel L. Jackson film that's in the top 10 of his most grossing. That is not Star Wars Jurassic Park or Adventure.
Which one?
The Incredibles.
Doesn't count.
You completely missed. What are you talking about?
It
Frozen
wasn't on
is
the list we
iconic.
used. It wasn't on the list we used. Nick,
That's
what
not-
is this
Katniss Everdeen.
picture?
It's Katniss Everdeen.
You sure?
It's fire. It's catching fire. Yeah, it's Hunger Games catching fire. It's Katniss Everdeen.
Nick, you are correct.
Yeah,
5
yeah, damn
points
right
for
I'm
you.
correct.
And
Hell
then
yeah, I
let's
am. Obviously, it's
uh,
Katniss.
let's pull
Yeah,
up that picture.
unpixel
What do
that
you mean
shit. Let me see that.
Let's pull up the unpixelated version of it.
I'm
Let's
I'm
go.
a god. I'm king.
And here it
I
is.
know my archers.
There it
I know
is.
my
There-
games.
That's the
I know my
unpixelated
box
version of it.
office.
Beautiful.
Nice.
Good job.
Mm-hmm.
Good job. Okay. We're gonna do the next
dead
one.
giveaway. Katniss uses
I
fire
didn't want it
arrows.
to be
Everybody
too
knows
hard.
that.
I didn't want it to be too hard.
Marcus, I'm obviously talking shit because I'm not going to get any more.
You're gonna get them. You're gonna get them.
Well, we'll see. We shall see.
This one's easy. Oh my god, it's too big.
Marcus, have you ever done archery?
I have. It's much harder.
I've done
than
archery
you
one
think.
time. Wow. You know what's funny? I know exactly who that is.
You do,
You want
right?
to know why? I know because of that nice ass bicep. There's only one archer I know that's a fucking beefcake, and that's Green Arrow, Stephen Amell from the Arrow show. That's gotta be him.
Nick, you're
That's
wrong.
sexy. Look at that bicep. Am I?
Nick, you are not wrong. You are correct, but it's not Stephen Amell. It's just a picture of Green Arrow. Let's go here.
Oh, from the comics?
From the comic books, yeah. And let's show
do I
that
still get it?
unpixelated. You still get it. You still get it. Let's
Okay,
show.
cool.
Oh, there it is. Look at the big green arrow.
Oh, but here's the thing. That's New 52. That's clearly based off of Stephen Amell's bicep.
I agree. That's from the Jeff Lemire run of Green Arrow. Very good.
Which was good.
Next one. You're plowing
Now,
through
I went
these,
archery
Nick.
one time.
Got 10
My
points.
partner took me to Gotham Archery, which is here in Brooklyn, and I crushed it. I'm amazing archer. Lexi, write in the chat how amazing I am at archery. Please invalidate me. Marcus, how good are you at archery?
Okay.
How good are you at archery?
I'm pretty good. I could shoot an arrow. I could shoot something. I don't know if I can get a bullseye, but I get it.
Let me look at this. Okay, this is harder. There's a lot of white. Is there an angel? Oh, angel. Oh, this is Icarus from Smash Bros. This is 100%
a very
Icarus.
good guess. That's
Oh,
a
is
very
it
good
not?
guess. It's not. It's not.
Oh, man.
So I'm going to move on to the
That's
middle
a good
level
guess,
now.
though.
That's a good guess.
Angelic. Oh,
Let's go on to the
man.
middle level with there's worth 2 points.
All right, let me see this middle level.
Oh, this
because
one's so
if
easy.
it's- Is it? Well, I thought it was Icarus, and it's not. So
That's true.
that looks the same. You didn't do anything. That's the same picture.
It's significantly different
That's
than
not
the last
anymore.
one.
That's completely the same.
Which famous
There's
archer
nothing different.
is
There's nothing.
this a picture
There's
of?
nothing different.
You got to cross your eyes and then you get it.
Oh, I know who it is. I know who it is. You know what's funny?
Yeah?
Squinting my eyes and doing that totally works.
It works. It 100%
It's
works.
Legolas. It's Legolas, Lord of the Rings.
You are 100% correct. It is Legolas.
Yes.
Let's go. Here we go.
Wow,
Here's
it's
the
funny.
picture.
I couldn't name all these, but when you see the picture, you're like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
He has a bow.
Yep. There's Legolas. Wow.
Nice.
I didn't think you'd get that one.
I thought it was Icarus.
Yeah.
Marcus,
Okay.
you didn't say it. How good are you at archery? Can you shoot a bow and arrow?
I can shoot a bow and arrow.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
You wanna
did
make a
it
bet?
at the
Want to place a bet? How much you putting down?
that I
Podcast?
could shoot a bow and arrow. I put a whatever. I can't do that. It's easy. I did it at the Ren Fair, the Renaissance Fair. You
Oh,
like
Ren
go
Fair,
and shoot
nice.
a bow and arrow. Yeah, and I did very
Yeah.
well.
Very cool.
Everyone was
Yeah,
impressed.
it made me really surprised that I was like, wow, during a zombie apocalypse, I would take a bow and arrow. I'm close enough that I would want it around when I wanted my main thing. No, but if there's a zombie 30 feet away, would I try to not waste my bullets first? 100%.
Yeah, I would do crossbow before bow and arrow, but yeah, bow and
I
arrow.
feel like too many accidents happens with crossbow. I feel like it's gonna backfire and shoot you in the
Based
goddamn
on
face.
what? What statistic are
I feel
you
like that's
looking
a
up?
fact. I feel like that's a.
Only
I feel
because
like that's
more
a
people
thing.
are using crossbows than arrows.
How often do crossbows kill yourself?
Oh my god,
Has anyone committed suicide with a crossbow? That's dark.
that is dark.
Anyway, what's the next picture?
Here's the
There's
next
three
picture.
left, right?
Yep.
Wow, that is so obvious.
Wait, it's a penis.
That was hard to pixelate because it's so blue and red. It's Merida from Pixar's movie
Hell my
Brave.
god, you are so right. Jesus
5,
Christ.
10, 15.
Man, you're killing it.
Was it
Guys.
18? Is it 18 points? I'm crushing
Yeah,
this.
you're crushing it. Guys, go
I know
on
my bows.
if you're listening to the episode, go check us out and see if you could guess the pixelated pictures for yourself.
You can get the VOD on our YouTube channel if you want
Mhm.
to look at our faces there on a past episode.
Let's see. We have another one here.
Are there 2 left or 1 left?
2 left.
2 left. Okay. Icarus. I'm just kidding. I don't see it yet. Oh my god, that's so funny because his name is so hard to say. It is it is Uryu from Bleach, Tade Kubo's Quincy character on my favorite anime.
Oh my god.
I'm
Nick,
getting
you are
called out from the
100%
chat
right.
for beating my girlfriend at archery on our one of our first dates.
That's true.
It's
you
not
shouldn't have done that.
chivalrous. It's a lie. You don't let women win. You let them win on their own merits because they're their own people. Yeah, wow. Talk about proto-feminist over here. Oh, look, it's Oreo.
There you go. Bleach is coming
Nice.
back, guys. We're very excited. We might do it for the podcast. Who knows?
Oh my God, we 100% do it for the podcast.
Okay,
We're gonna
and
do
the
every
last
episode. Every
one-
episode that comes out, I'm gonna give you as a challenge. I'm so excited about Bleach, dude.
What is
Oh,
this?
that's so funny. I think you thought you would get me,
No,
but that's clearly Robin Hood, but it's Fox Robin Hood from Disney's Robin Hood.
Oh my
with
God.
Maid Marian
look
in
at
the pink right
that.
behind him.
Hell yeah. I
I'm sorry,
wasn't
should
trying
I-
to get you with any of these. I was worried it was going to be too hard. So I was like, let me pick the most iconic images I could find of this stuff instead of
That's
like
fine.
fan art or something. So there you go.
Honestly, we
Look
make
at
these
that.
yeah, whatever. I win. That's the important
Hell
thing.
yeah,
Say,
you
oh, this little
won.
John. Oh, it's a bear.
It was good.
Nice.
There you go.
Wow.
It was a fun game. I had fun.
Nice.
I
What
think
do I
you
win?
beat the game faster than it took to make it.
How did you pixelate them?
Photoshop?
A website? You went out of you pixeled them
Yeah,
yourself?
I
Nice.
went into
That's extra
Photoshop.
work.
I found the pixel filter. Then I had to find a right percentage and then do that 3 times for the 3 levels for each of the pictures.
Wow.
Uh-huh. Thank you. Thank you very much.
You're
Thank
the
you very
real winner, having done that work for my enjoyment.
much. Okay, guys. Back to Hawkman.
Hawkeye.
Did you used to get Hawkeye and Hawkman confused when you were younger?
Not even a little bit, did you?
I did. I didn't know either one of them because in the 90s Hawkeye wasn't really around in the Avengers as much, and
I wasn't reading comics in the 90s.
Hawkman kind of was a little bit more.
Sure.
So it was like Hawkman was the one I knew, and Hawkeye was like also there.
Mhm.
I don't know. I got them confused all the time.
I didn't really read comics until 2004 or 5. With
Oh,
House
then
of
you
M.
were already,
That was when
like,
I was like,
yeah.
now I am a comic book reader.
Yeah.
Before that, I
This-
just got random issues of random things.
No, this is when I was like 5. So yeah, I was fine getting confused.
Yeah, but you
Okay.
had like comics in your house.
Also,
You know one thing? Go ahead.
I was gonna say shout out to our most recent patrons before we move on from the game:
Oh, sure.
Harper, Tizam, Harry Bainbridge, and Noah. Thank you for joining Patreon.
Shout out to you and shout out to Aaron Gold, the winner of this challenge, for giving us Hawkeye. Congrats to you. You did
Thanks
it,
for
buddy.
remembering that.
You
'cause
did
I
it.
forgot.
Now, one thing, now I've been praising the show and you have not this whole time, which I think is fantastic. But one thing I will complain about because it upset me because they did the same thing during Wanda Vision. I don't know why they keep doing this, is the bait and switch with Swordmaster. They take these characters that have this rich backstory and they make them the butt of the joke. And I'm not saying the butt of the joke with the way he acted. I actually really liked the actor. I thought it was
the
fun.
actor did a good job.
I thought that like, it was
Yes,
really
it was
fun, like that
perfect.
Don Quixote kind of
Mhm.
like caricature-y kind of thing. I loved it. But why couldn't he have been connected to Clint's past?
Yes. They could have known each other. They could have done a little bit more with that. I think that Marvel is doing this thing where they are, I don't know if they don't think that it's going to last as long or if
sure.
they just think that they have such a wealth of like IP that they don't need to use every character. But like a lot of the times it feels like they wasted a good character. Like so
Yeah.
many times they'll like, oh, use a character for a joke or use a character and waste their potential or use a character storyline in a bad way. And it's like, okay, cool. Now now as someone who wanted to see that arc happen, now I don't get to see that cool arc in live
And I
action
think-
format.
And I think sometimes they can fix it, right? They did it for the Mandarin. They wasted on a joke. I didn't
Mhm.
mind it, but some people really hated it. But Mandarin is honestly the best villain in the last couple years in the MCU. He was,
Yeah.
bar
Give me one.
none, one of my favorite things that came out of Shang-Chi. That actor, fantastic.
Mhm.
But for me, for those of you who don't know, Swordmaster was the guy who taught Hawkeye how to use a bow and arrow. Hawkeye was a down in his luck, didn't have anything. He joined the circus as a kid and he learned to be a criminal through this criminal circus, learned how to use a bow and do all the things that Hawkeye can do from Swordmaster, and then was a villain that eventually turned to become a good guy. So
I agree.
to just waste that opportunity to, like, I think one of the biggest things missing for me from the show, which isn't a lot, I actually really like a lighthearted Christmas caper. I thought that was a really
Sure.
nice touch. I thought it was
Yeah.
cute. It was Christmas. It was fun. There was no moment to expand on Hawkeye lore. And I know I'm a junkie for lore as a comic book fan. I know that I like lore more than the
But
casual
so are a
fan.
majority of the fans watching. Most of the people watching
That's true.
are also
We represent a
fans.
big of the base, you know.
Yeah.
We can handle lore. like maybe I don't know how to write it better, to be fair. Sometimes when I give these pitches, I'm like, I know how to do it better. And we're like,
Sure.
actually, that's pretty good. Let's do that.
Yeah.
I don't know if you have flashbacks of the circus. I don't know if you have something happening. I don't know how you would do it because the show
But
was
you
already
do
pretty
it.
full and it was only 6 episodes.
You do it either way.
But you do it, right?
Yeah. You
Why
do
not
a
have
Hawkeye
anything about
background.
Hawkeye being younger? They have the technology to make him younger if they needed to have him be cast somebody that looks like him to be a teenage Jeremy Renner to join the circus.
Like we literally know nothing
and you
about
can
this man.
connect it.
And yet we're
right?
supposed to be invested enough to watch a TV show about him. And it goes to your point earlier where it feels like it's not a Hawkeye show. It feels like it's a Kate Bishop
Kate Bishop
show.
origin. It was. It showed a flashback of her. It showed her origin, which honestly, great origin. I think some people don't like when they keep like cutting back to the New York invasion but I really love that. It feels super connected. I love it when it's like 2012. I'm like 2012. And then you see the Shatari ship and they live right in New York. This happened in a lot of these families. Good comic books deal with the consequences of all these little things and they're trying, right? They're doing all these little things.
I'm much rather that than the whole thing where like comic books will ignore. It's like, okay, you're saying this person was around during this time. What were they doing? What were they doing during that time? There was a huge alien invasion. The first one ever, as far as we know. And what were you doing? Nothing. So it's good that they showed it.
And I think something that the show definitely gets props for because it's all new to the show. This is not Kate Bishop's origin story. They completely made it up, and it's way better than the comics. The comic books, she's just a rich girl that stumbles upon the Young Avengers. She's like, oh, I've done archery a lot. I'm like an Olympic athlete. I can help. And now she's a superhero.
Yep.
Which sometimes is okay, but it's weak sauce compared to all the other Young Avengers who are like generational trauma is like why they're superheroes. Patriot is a superhero because his grandfather was experimented on by the American government. Like that's a fucking rich ass
and he's
backstory.
Wearing like Captain America-esque clothing and people think like, oh, you're Captain America themed Young Avenger. And he's like, no, I'm not. I'm the Captain America themed my grandfather, not this white man.
The first Captain America. The white man was able to have a good serum because of my grandpaps.
Exactly.
Which is fantastic. But Kate Bishop didn't have anything. So doing this flashback and all this and like I liked it. I liked it a lot. I think it really worked. But why couldn't we get a little of that from Hawkeye?
Yeah.
Something.
Echo's the next big thing that we kind of have to talk about.
Oh, sure.
How do you feel about Echo's inclusion in this show?
Well, Echo is connected to this backstory. Ronan, for people who don't know, Avengers Disassembled happened in 2004. And that's when Bendis started taking over the Marvel comics for a little while. And basically what happened is he killed off a bunch of them. He's like, I need to start over and start fresh. And he killed Hawkeye. Hawkeye straight up died. And the reason Hawkeye died was the Scarlet Witch. But then House of M happened where Scarlet Witch altered all of reality, which is like a big concept of Wanda Vision. She altered all of reality and brought Hawkeye back to life. And when Hawkeye got back to life, obviously he had PTSD from being dead.
Yeah.
So he was like, I'm not going to be Hawkeye for a while. I'm going to be Ronin. So that's where they got the inspiration for Ronin. So like that totally bought it. And in the comic books, Echo is involved in that aspect and eventually takes over the persona of Ronin from Hawkeye in the comics during that New Avengers run. So I love that she was there. I thought the Atrix did a really good job. I think
she did a great job.
The inclusion in this and lately in the MCU has been fantastic. You know, it has to be mentioned at least a little bit. And I think my only critique of it, which I think is a big one, honestly, is I think they didn't let her like be as fun as I wish it could have been. Like I see that the actress is good. Like, because the grief and everything she's doing and action is fantastic, but at no point are there any hijinks with her. And I think the bread and butter of why MCU stuff is fun is like hijinks. Like as she is fighting, like a couple gags about something or other to add a little bit of levity is why I would have connected with her. But I felt disconnected from her because they just had her be Grief Machine 5000, right?
Yeah, I agree with that completely. I think that there was no room for us as viewers to really connect with her, and I feel bad for her and her like Kingpin ties. Totally. But it was good. I'm hoping that in the TV show that she has coming up, that it's not grief porn or it's not just super sad all the time. I hope it's fun. That's like you said,
Yeah.
that's why we come to the MCU. Like if we want
Yeah.
a dark, gritty bullshit, then we go over to DC and watch all their stupid shit.
I think some people love the Netflix shows, and I really liked some of the Netflix show, but I think the thing that they got wrong is that it was all serious the entire time. If you read comics, there are arcs and stories that are super depressing and sad and grounded and real. But even then, even when you have a Punisher comic that's dealing with his dead wife and kids and he's killing everybody, there are jokes. It's just such an ingrained part of how I read comics and how I like comics. Like, even if you take something like Jessica Jones' Alias that Bendis wrote, which is just tragic. It is fucking there's still jokes. There's still a lot of jokes. And I think like Jessica Jones season 1 had it in there a little bit, but then they started like trying to get more serious, and that wasn't the answer. I think if Echo takes the good things from the Netflix series, like action and raw and grit, but then bring some of the levity, like have her like maybe during the show also have her try to like find her humanity again in like little bits and pieces of like trying to connect with the world, and she can't quite do it. One because of being deaf, one because she's been so attached from the world for so long. Like, I think it could be great.
Yeah.
I'm scared it's not gonna be.
I'm scared it's not gonna be. And I hope that they use it to introduce more Daredevil content, because I love Daredevil a lot. And you said you had problems with the Netflix show, and that's fine. But I do genuinely think while it wasn't perfect, Daredevil himself was fucking awesome, and I loved him, and I want to see him in so much shit.
10 out of 10. Charlie Cox was fantastic. The way he portrayed him, the action was superb. He cared.
Love the choreography of the fighting.
Wonderful actor.
Also, bring back Punisher. I love Punisher.
I thought Punisher was fun. I thought his show wasn't great.
His show wasn't great, but I liked him as Punisher.
I liked him too. Yeah,
So,
I think casting of everyone except for Iron Fist was fantastic in the Netflix shows. I love Luke Cage, love Jessica Jones, love all of them. I say bring him back. But we got spoilers for Spider-Man No Way Home. We got Charlie Cox back.
Yes, we did. And in this,
he's definitely gonna be involved.
We got Kingpin. So like, I'm excited.
Yeah.
And we got strong Kingpin too, which is kind of cool. I mean, he was kind of strong in Daredevil. Like, he was throwing Daredevil around a little bit. But I feel like he felt like he could take more damage in this one.
He did feel a little more. It made me think I missed something, like he got meta powers or something. He didn't. He's just
I mean, Kingpin has always been strong. Like, he has super-ish strength, but they never say where he got it from.
The way they describe it in the comics is it's like a sumo wrestler. Like, that's not fat. That's muscle. He's just conditioned it in that way where it looks like he's fat.
Like a power lifter,
but it's muscle. Yeah, that's how they describe him. And when he like takes his shirt off in the comics, you can like see it, even though he just like looks fat. Which I love. I loved him. I love Vince D'Onofrio. I think I'm so excited because I think the opportunity to bring Daredevil into all these shows is so significant. Like, She-Hulk's also a lawyer. I don't know why he's not showing up in that show, right? Echo, he's connected with Echo. They had a relationship for a while. I totally see that happening in the show, you know?
And I love the street level guys. Like, the street level guys are my jam. Like, yes, go solve the world. Go, like, fight cosmic level shit. Like, go do that. But I love Spider-Man because he's a street level guy. I love all these people and how they interact because they're all street level dudes, and it's like that's important. There's a whole world there to explore.
And spoilers again for No Way Home. It seems like the message at that end of that movie was almost like Spider-Man is getting back in touch with who he is on the streets, your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. That was my takeaway, like reading of the end of why he changed his suit and why it showed it the way he did. He was in a shitty apartment, being on his own again, away from the Avengers, away from the technology, back to what is important, the neighborhood. And now that neighborhood involves Daredevil and Kingpin and all these things.
And now, I mean, rights issues aside, who knows what'll happen, because, you know, Sony and Spider-Man, that whole like complicated web that they have to navigate. But I'm excited, and I'm pretty hopeful that Spider-Man will get to be a part of
and I think Tom Holland is, I couldn't imagine he wouldn't be like, hey, I'll take day and date rate, and I won't make it as one of the parts of my contract if you want me to show up for 2 scenes in a Daredevil show. You know?
No, I agree.
Wow. Could you imagine like oh my God, Marcus, you know, I'm a genius. You know what they need to make? You know what the next Disney Plus show should be?
What? Spider-Man?
Marvel team up.
Yeah.
Every episode is a one-shot episode. This one is Luke Cage and Spider-Man. This one is Doctor Strange and Hawkeye.
They can
this
even
one
do it
is
animated. thing. They ruined the what if. Can we talk about that for a second? Just like a quick second. What if was
I didn't watch it.
absolute terrible trash. It had the highest potential and the biggest crash. I
didn't watch it. Well, tell me
that
why.
rhymed. I hated it so much. I hated
Tell me why.
it with a
I
burning
didn't watch
passion.
it. You
I
need
was
to tell me
excited.
why.
It
I'm
was
getting you the space.
animated. It was animated. They could have done anything. They could have done anything, Nick. What If is actually one of my favorite series. Like, it's not good necessarily, but it is fun. Every time it comes up, it's like, oh, what if Dr. Doom became Venom? And you're like, fuck yeah, what if he became Venom? Let's find out. And it's fun every time. And they took all the fun out of it. They like Disneyfied the whole thing and they like made it boring. And it's like, you have the potential that the question, what if, inherently has in it. You took that away. Like, you got it wrong from the title.
Like, I don't understand. Like, why? What?
It was, all the stories, all the like, what if scenarios that they did were very boring. It was like, what if Spider-Man ate cheese? And you're like, okay, like, I guess what if, like, who cares? It could have been bigger. Like, what if like Spider-Man was the Sorcerer Supreme? Or like, what if like this? They did a Marvel Zombies episode that was like boring. You had Marvel.
How is that boring?
Exactly. I don't
know. They're going to come out with a TV show now. It's on the slate. A Marvel Zombie show, yeah.
It was boring. It was very boring. Like, they could have done so much fun stuff with it, but it was just like, the action wasn't there. The like, threat wasn't there. I don't know. It just, for me,
weird. I don't know why they didn't have the comic book. Who wrote those? Why didn't they like have Bendis write an episode and have like Matt Fraction write an episode? I don't know. Right?
But they eventually leads to them. It also had a cohesive narrative. So like all of the superheroes got together and formed like a multiversal team of superheroes to then go fight a version of the Vision that became Ultron. Yeah.
Oh, that's dumb. That's not what they should have done. They should have been standalone. And here's the thing. If you read comics, the what ifs that they do are actually usually pretty
crazy.
Dumb. They're dumb, then they just let it. The premise is dumb, but then the writing, because it's a what if, they go completely off the fucking wall. They let that one stupid thing change everything.
Yeah,
you know,
like you can have an interesting what if be like, what if Spider-Man, like, what if Aunt May died instead of Uncle Ben, like whatever. Like you can have a dumb thing,
and
like
the
that.
world is destroyed. It's crazy.
World is completely destroyed.
Everything is destroyed.
Yeah, you can write whatever you want with that
Venom is king of the universe for some weird reason or whatever. Yeah,
and that's what the comic books normally do with that, and it was so bad. It was a failure.
Shame. I still haven't watched it.
Also, like in the Vision becoming Ultron, or Ultron becoming Vision, like Vision just killed Thanos in like 1 second, and it was like, how? That doesn't make sense. I guess.
No.
It didn't make sense. It was weird.
But oh my god, now all I want is a Marvel team up show, live action. That's so smart. That would be so.
I mean, yeah,
cool.
dude. You can redo the Defenders thing and make a Marvel Knight. Call it Marvel Knights because that's what it was called in the comic book world. Like,
you could also do Marvel Knights.
Did Marvel Knights.
That's cool. I don't know. I don't think you understand though how cool Marvel's team would be. Like imagine like one solo adventure with like just Ant-Man and Doctor Strange. Like, how cool would that be?
I agree.
It would be so dumb.
I agree.
And so awesome. They would be so dumb. Like,
I honestly, I rather that than continue What If. Like, I rather them do a Marvel team ups one shot random episodes where people are having an adventure, because at least that makes sense. They don't want to ruin the continuity. So if they Disneyfy and make it a small stupid story that doesn't matter, like, that's fine. Whatever. We just want to see them hang out. That's okay. But don't give me the potential of What If and then fucking shit all over it.
Yeah. Well, anyway, back to the Hawkeye show. I will say that something that I didn't like all of it, because I didn't think they pushed it enough. I did appreciate the part of the story where it's like, and there are other people in New York City that are also heroes in their own right with their little LARPing crew.
Yeah, that was cute.
I thought that was fun. That was cute. I wish, I don't know why. I've been to these LARPing events. I'm surrounded by these people. The LARPing event could have been like even more epic. It seemed a little lackluster. Like it should have been like, they should have like made it so good. Like it should have felt like a Matrix movie almost, because like it was like like dial it up because it's so dumb, right?
I mean, it was midday on a work day. So I feel like
that's what I'm saying. That's why it would have been funny. They did a little bit. I think they could have played it up even more. I think they were scared to, because it's
I've
so
never
silly.
gone to a LARPing event, so I can't speak to that.
Sure, but that was cool. I love that. I love the one guy that's almost like his sidekick now. That was the paramedic guy. The actor was good. I forget his name, but he was really good. A really nice addition to the show. Really glad he was in there. Stuff like that gives me hope that maybe someday I can be in an MCU film. And it's like, there are other little things to like.
There are so many roles.
I'm not going to be Doctor Strange, but it doesn't mean I can't be Taxi Cab X guy.
Hell yeah! I mean, my one of my old bosses was in the movie Men in Black, and he loves the fact that he was just in the movie Men in Black as a taxi cab driver. And
I love that.
That's cool. That's good for him.
I would write that on my gravestone. Men in Black star.
Yeah, I think
there's not too much. Right? Oh no. There's one more huge thing that is
Steve
probably
Rogers, the musical.
No, there's one more thing that I think is probably the hands down, bar none, the best part of this show. I was I was spoiled that it was going to happen, but I was so surprised how much I loved it and how much their inclusion made the show and how I'm so excited for their future in the MCU. And that's Black Widow.
Oh yeah, God, I forgot about that. I loved
Black Widow.
Yes,
she was fantastic. One of the best. She got it. She knew exactly what she was doing. She understood
Florence
the
Pugh
MCU
did a great
perfectly.
job.
Have you ever seen her do anything else?
I'm sure I did. I don't remember.
Midsommar.
Yes.
You probably saw Midsommar. She was also in Little Women.
We saw it together.
We saw Midsommar together?
Yeah, we went to the theaters to see it together. We have a picture
we're like
of
friends.
each other.
We're like real friends.
In front of the signs. We made the face of the lady.
Oh, look at us.
Wow, you didn't remember that? Wow. I see how it is.
Buddy, you forget shit all the time. I don't feel bad.
No, I've never forgotten anything.
Anyway,
mine like a steel trap.
But she was so funny. The action was so good. She turned that switch back and forth. Like I never didn't buy her as this Russian spy the entire time. Yes. The fact that she wanted a girlfriend because she's finally out of the life and she's trying to connect with Kate, but at the same time she's like, I'll fucking kill you. Yeah. And she fucking means it, not as a joke. All the jokes were so funny. Well.
Yeah.
Oh, and the whole eating the macaroni and cheese scene, the whole going across all the office spaces action scene with Kate from the elevator of pressing the buttons. She slaps her. What are you doing? I don't know. It's so funny. It's so good.
Yes. All that stuff was like, oh yes, that's why I come to see Marvel content.
Yes.
Because you have these funny interactions that are genuine and well acted and move the character development forward. It was so good for that character. And I want to see more of her. I hope that she makes it on the Avengers. I don't know what the future of the Avengers looks like right now, but
I think she's going to be one of the Dark Avengers, right?
After this interaction, she resolved her issues with Hawkeye, so I don't see any reason for her to be a Dark Avenger.
I could see her being manipulated and changing.
I could see her she's probably the character that's going to do Dark Avengers.
Or they're the Thunderbolts. You think they'll do the Thunderbolts? Thunderbolts is more branding, better branding.
They'll do one of them. They'll do one of them.
Yeah, so it's U.S. Agent. It's her. Do we have any more?
I think she'll be a double agent, though. I think she'll be a double agent working.
I think she'll be like a Mockingbird on the original Thunderbolts, where she'll this. Oh shit, we're not doing good stuff. Let's stop. And then it's her versus all of them, kind of thing. Oh shit, are we gonna get a Thunderbolt show?
Maybe
that's gonna be cool.
I could see that happening, and I want it to happen. I think that would be very.
U.S. Agent was one of the best parts of Captain America. I would love to see more of his journey.
Signed up for something with the lady from Frasier. So
yeah, and so is Elena. So she hasn't talked to anybody else yet, has she?
No.
So but I think one of the reasons why it works so well though is because while all that humor's happening, that tragedy of the backstory is all still there, and it's still, they let it influence it. Like that whole, the fact that we got a flashback with her, so we understood the blip and her turmoil, and not
I love that.
Hawkeyes.
I love that. Give me more.
What?
Give me more Florence Pugh and Hailee Steinfeld. It was fantastic.
100%. But why couldn't we get that same attention to Hawkeye? We should have
gotten a little bit of Hawkeye. Yeah. It's assumed that you saw it, which is kind of lame. Because I think that these TV shows, at least for the main Marvel content, is a chance for you to get more intimate moments with these characters. Because the movies are a big action blockbuster thing. You only have a certain amount of screen time with each character. So it's nice to get these more intimate moments. And they didn't do that for Hawkeye.
Oh, we also got I'm reading an article that is telling us all the people that could be in the Thunderbolts. So this is just theories, but we also got Abomination. He's back. We also got Ghost from the second Spider-Man film.
Oh, yeah.
She's like a anti-hero. We also got
Second
Baron
Spider-Man, you
Zemo,
mean
who of
Ant-Man.
course that's what I meant. Yeah. We also got Baron Zemo, of course, formed the Thunderbolts in the first place. Baron Zemo totally makes sense to be on the team. We also we know Thunderbolt Ross has been on it. Winter Soldier might make sense, you know.
It's true. Yeah.
Taskmaster's alive from the Black Widow movie. White Vision.
No, these all don't. White Vision, some of them make sense, but I think that the goal of it is to sort of be like, we're going to recruit members who think they should be on the Avengers.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be. They're gonna call it the Thunderbolts, but it's gonna feel more like the Dark Avengers.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah,
it's gonna be the Dark Avengers, but they're gonna call it the Thunderbolts because of branding. Because
Yeah.
they should. It's a better call.
I agree. Nick, I think that's it, right?
Let me see. We talked about Kate. We talked about
Good call on the Florence
how
Pugh.
awesome
She was fucking fantastic, and I would have
she was
regretted
great.
this if I didn't
Shout out
get a chance
to
talk
Linda
about her.
Cardellini. Linda Cardellini, she was just on the phone just a couple times with Jeremy Renner, but she's so good.
Yeah.
And we got the reveal with her that she was Agent 19, who, if you know the comics,
Mockingbird.
was Mockingbird.
Mm-hmm.
So are they going to do more there? Is that just one small little wink and nod for us and that's it? I don't know.
You know what it means?
It
means
why
Hawkeye
in the
can
show-
die, and she can train Hailee Steinfeld.
That's
And we
that's
don't need
really
Jeremy
good.
Renner
That's really
anymore.
good. Marcus, that's really good. That's really good. Oh my God. Hawkeye season 2, Hawkeye's missing. Or just make it missing. Just make it missing.
Make him missing. He's missing. He's
And
gone.
make Linda call up Kate and they're connecting. And then Linda is like her oracle and like helping train her and like teaching her
hell
some
yeah.
moves. Oh, what a great pitch for Hawkeye season 2.
Thank you. Yes.
You can have Yelena call back because she comes back. You can have Kingpin in there. You can have Echo. That's great. But again, why couldn't we have flashbacks of Linda Cardellini and Hawkeye meeting? Like they were setting that up in there. Why wasn't that in the show?
Literally any flashback with him doing anything. I think
They
that would've
did
been
other
nice.
flashbacks. I mean, sometimes flashbacks are tropey, but they already had them. It's not like it's a show without flashbacks and you add there's flashbacks everywhere.
Yeah. Do the flashbacks.
Why
with
didn't you
him.
have any flashbacks with Hawkeye?
It's sad that like
What a wasted opportunity.
we had a whole Hawkeye show and I didn't learn anything new about Hawkeye. I wasn't like,
I
oh
think-
man, I understand more about him. Why does he love arrows? I don't know. Of all the things he could have picked, he was a trained shield agent. He could have picked guns. But he picked arrows.
He probably
Why?
can
We
use
literally
guns
don't
very
know.
well.
We don't fucking
Yeah.
know. I watched 6
We don't.
episodes of this man, and I don't know anything else about him.
I think that one of the things that I think maybe a disconnect with the people who made the show is this show was great. It was a Christmas romp. It introduced Kate Bishop. It did all these things very well, but I think it went under the assumption that we knew and liked Hawkeye when he's gotten shafted every single one of the movie. It's a running joke that he gets shafted. It's kind of funny.
Yeah.
It's funny that he runs out of arrows. That's funny.
Yeah.
But he's been the butt of the joke. And this was the opportunity to make him not the butt of the joke.
Yes. Instead,
he's
he
still the butt
continued
of the
to be the
joke.
butt of the joke. Yeah.
Yes.
This
Like,
should have made us
you
like
should-
Hawkeye, and they didn't try at all.
They should have had flashbacks with Swordmaster. They should have had flashbacks with Linda Cardellini as his wife. They should have flashbacks of why he does what he does. Maybe tell what. Oh my God, Marcus, give me this writing room. The whole thing about Echo being a bad guy and Kate wanting to fight the bad guys and her mom being a bad guy. What if this whole time we were also learning that he used to be the bad guy?
Mm-hmm.
Because that is how he started as a criminal.
In the comic
A
books,
small time criminal
Mhm.
in the circus.
Nope.
That would have been so cool.
Nope. He doesn't want to relate to anybody. He doesn't care.
Kate's
He
like,
doesn't
I
love
want to be
anybody.
just like you. You
Nope.
don't want to be like me, kid. Flashback to when he like
Sure.
mugged an old lady. I don't know.
Instead, we only get flashbacks and like things that we've already seen. It's like, I don't care. I've seen that. I know he was Ronin. I know he killed people. What else happened to this man?
Well, they also didn't. That was only one of the weakest parts about Endgame. It wasn't too weak, but they just didn't have the time to reflect on it. They were
Mhm.
like, he was Ronin because he got really hurt and he had PTSD, but now he's good.
Yep.
Because we
He's
need
fine.
it for plot.
Yep.
You know?
Yep. Yeah, he's
Where
healed.
where I think this show again, why weren't there flashbacks of more of what he did as Ronin, like the sacrifices he made to his humanity?
Yeah.
Oh my God, why was that any of this in the show?
No reason. Why wasn't there more Hawkeye in Hawkeye?
Man.
Who knows?
Oh,
Even
what
just
a
extending it by
waste.
2 episodes or something. 1 episode. You could have squeezed in enough of that.
Not even. Just give me 15 minutes over 6 episodes. 15 minutes. That's all I'm asking.
Yeah.
You know, Daredevil, we talk about Daredevil, but we talk about that one hallway fight to death because it's the best part of the whole first season. Give me that. Give me one like big something. Ugh, what a way.
We get nothing. We get nothing. And we're probably never going to get it either. So
maybe they just ran out of money and they didn't want to do a younging tech, or they didn't know who to
Jeremy Renner's
cast.
too expensive.
He might be. Originally, I was just reading, he was signed up in his contract to have a movie, and Kevin Feige was like, I think it would work better in a show, and he agreed. Like he let them downsize him, you know?
Yeah.
So maybe they couldn't afford him any more than they did.
But either way,
could totally be the case.
I'm happy to
I never got the impression he doesn't like doing these shows, though. I don't get the impression he doesn't like the character.
I'm sure he doesn't have anything else going for him. Like,
that's a very harsh way of saying what I said, but yes, we agree.
Oh man, he's never gonna see this. It's fine. It's okay.
Jeremy Renner, if you're out there, I apologize. I'll sign up for your app. Send me your code.
Prove me wrong that you're and not an asshole, and I'll be fine.
But yeah. And the only other thing that I think is just like, I don't understand why they did it, is why we didn't get a post-credit scene, and it was Rogers the Musical. Why wasn't it Kingpin surviving? Why wasn't it Kate finding out something else and setting her up to meet Patriot? Why wasn't it
was a fun gag.
Why wasn't it anything?
But yeah, I think they just don't know what they're setting up. I think that they kind of have plans, but with like a lot of things up in the air right now.
No. I don't think anything's up in the air. I think they just don't care about Hawkeye. They know their next 16 projects.
They know their next 16 projects, sure, but they don't know, like you said, they don't know Hawkeye's fate. They don't know when they're doing Young Avengers yet.
Sure. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
There's a lot of like
Hawkeye's
timeline
fate
things
is
that they're trying to fit in right now.
Right. If this failed, they would have completely been fine shelving Hawkeye for the foreseeable future.
100%.
But I think it did really well. I think it's a very popular show. It's gotten 90s on Rotten Tomatoes for almost every episode. I think people love it, and I think they're going to want more, especially of Kate and Elena. But I think Jeremy Renner and Hawkeye too. The whole premise of the whole show, I think people like. I think people want more.
But like you said, I think Marvel is very much like, they're a kind of company that waits and sees if something fails. If something fails, they're willing to scrap the shit out of it, I think.
Here's the thing, though. They are, but they usually aren't scared to set it up. I mean, they set up Avengers in the first Iron Man movie. That Iron Man movie could have not been good.
No, but I don't know about that, because I mean, Inhumans, we didn't get any setup, and they just showed up, and then that bombed, and they swept it under the rug. That's
different, though. That's different because of stuff behind
Eternals
the scenes.
Didn't get set up. It's just they just showed up, and then it's like, okay, is this going to be good? Is this going to be bad? I feel like we're going to get more, maybe. Depending.
You're so wrong about all this, and I'm going to tell you why.
What do you mean?
so the TV arm and the movie arm of Marvel weren't just separate. The two heads of them were actively fighting. They hated each other, which is why Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Inhumans is so separate from Kevin Feige and his vision for everything else. The Inhumans was a pet project of the guy that was in charge of TV, and the disconnect happened because they hated each other. And in Eternals, you're right, they didn't set up Eternals too much, but when you watch Eternals touches every new thing that is going to be in the MCU. With what happens in the film and all the after credit scenes. Eternals are a player in the MCU. They touch like 6 different things for different areas that we're going to get. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But your point stands about Hawkeye because I don't know.
I feel like Marvel is more willing to let things go than I want them to be. Like, if shows bomb entirely,
what did they let go? Besides,
no, I'm not saying they have let anything go. But if they like if Echo bombs, we're not going to see any more Echo. I swear. I think, you know what I mean. And if this show bombed, I think we would have gotten more Hailee Steinfeld, but I don't think we would get more like Hawkeye focused content. Whereas where it stands now,
I will say
I wouldn't be surprised if they throw her in more stuff.
I will say, to your point that makes you more right than me, Captain Marvel wasn't that well received, and they haven't put her everywhere that they could have. She is definitely taking a back seat. Than I think what was their plan.
She was supposed. I feel like she would have been.
They wanted her to be the next.
She would have been the face of Marvel.
One.
Yeah.
They wanted her to be the face. They wanted that film to be the face of Marvel, and it is not, and she is not.
Yeah.
So, you know.
So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
We'll see.
I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful.
I am too. Anything else you would like to talk about, Marcus?
No,
for
I'm
the
good.
Hawkeye film.
I'm
Marcus,
all good.
Did you like the show Hawkeye?
I did like it. I liked it a lot. I didn't like the Jeremy Renner parts, but I did like everything else.
Well, to be fair for you, there weren't a lot, so you
Exactly.
didn't have to
So it was great. It's pretty good.
a lot.
It was like 75% good.
You're so funny.
What about you, Nick? Did you like the show?
I loved it. I think I loved it. I think my quibbles with it are just with like, I want more. And honestly, that's almost always my quibbles about Marvel stuff, right? I mean, you've heard me talk about Marvel films for our entire friendship. My quibbles are almost always, I wanted more, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I didn't want it better. I don't want it different. I just wanted more. And that's my only quibble. But I liked it a lot. I loved it.
Yeah.
Great Christmas fun.
What's next? Oh, yeah. It was good Christmas content.
Would you recommend this show?
I would recommend it. I think if you're part of the MCU and you haven't watched it, then like go ahead and watch it because it's totally worth watching. What about you?
Agreed. I think something that's fun is I have a connection to my partner's mother, who is older. She did not read comics growing up. In fact, she would probably turn her nose against this realm of nerdy things. She watches every single MCU film. She's the fan. She's the one. Like, we aren't the target demographic, right? The target demographic are the people that show up, watch the MCU films every time, always say it's fun, and then go back to their lives. We're obsessed. We're the problem.
Yeah.
But she is, and she watched Hawkeye immediately, and she loved it.
Oh, wow.
So, like, I think this is like, yes, recommended for the everyday Joes and the people who saw Avengers and thought it was cool. Like, I think they're going to love this. And I think rightly so. I think it's really well made. And last question is, are you going to continue watching it? Would you watch second season?
I would
New
watch
Marvel
the second
shows?
season. Yeah. I would definitely watch more of any Marvel content you can throw at me. I will watch more of it.
Yeah, I agree with that. Except I do want to reiterate that I'm very excited for the Young Avengers to come. I've been waiting for literally 7 years.
What next Marvel project are you excited for most? What singular thing?
Without looking, I'm sure there's tons. Without looking, in my head, the things I'm most excited for are She-Hulk and Moon Knight. Because She-Hulk and Moon Knight are those C-tier heroes that I have read a bunch of that no one ever talks about, but that I've read an amazing thing of. And they're just not important enough that you can do some really cool shit.
Yeah, I agree.
Like Tatiana Maslany, we just watched Orphan Black. She's fantastic. She's She-Hulk. Oscar Isaac, we just watched Dune. We bend the knee for daddy. And he's going to be our Moon Knight. I am stoked for those two people to join the MCU in those two projects. What about you?
I would say, is Fantastic Four officially announced?
I think so, but nothing about it has been.
I'm saying Fantastic Four and the Thor Love and Thunder.
Oh, Thor Love and Thunder is going to be good.
Yeah.
I also think Doctor Strange is going to be really good.
Oh, I'm excited for Doctor Strange. I forgot about that. Sam Raimi?
Yeah. You're a Sam Raimi boy.
He's a wild card. He's a wild
He is a wild card. He's going to do some weird shit.
Yeah, let him do weird shit. That's what I want. I like weird shit.
And
also,
that was I feel like you agree with me. That was my biggest complaint about the Doctor Strange movie. It just wasn't weird enough, right?
Yeah.
Like, it was good, but it just needed to be weirder.
It was boring.
Yeah.
I didn't like it that much.
You're harsh.
I was harder on it.
I liked it.
I didn't really
I just
like
wanted
it
it to be
at all.
weirder.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that was a bad one for me, the Doctor Strange movie. But give me a weird one. Let him do some weird shit. Let's fucking go. I'm excited. Also,
I think they got who the character is now, you know?
Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special.
Oh,
only
that's such
because
a smart move.
Of the Star Wars Holiday Special, and I'm sure that is what it's going to be a riff on. Like, they're going to mock it in a fun way. I'm hoping.
Yeah.
That's what I would do.
I hope so too. James Gunn. I mean, you know.
It'd be great.
All right, Marcus, that is our show. The last thing is you to find out what we're doing next week. Marcus, it's my challenge to give to you. And for everyone out there, we will be recording our usual time on Monday night instead of Thursday. You'll still get the episode normal times and all that fun stuff. But this film that I'm giving you, I was excited to see in theaters, but I missed the boat because I was too busy. This movie has everything you would expect me to love. And I thought I wouldn't love it because of that. Because sometimes when you have too many of a good thing, you're just like, oh, they're not going to hit the mark. They're not going to do everything for me. And I'll even say the first time I watched this film, I was like, that was very good. But then as more time went on, I was like, I need to watch it right now immediately again. And then again and again. And that's how I felt about this film. Marcus, my new obsession is, since it's joined Disney Plus, is the 60th Disney animated film Encanto. Marcus, next week we will be doing Encanto.
Nice. Very excited. Let's do it.
Yes, sir. Everyone go check it out at Disney Plus. You can follow us everywhere at Now Try This Cast. Tweet at us, Instagram, post us, let us know what your thoughts on everything. You can join the Patreon at patreon.com/Now Try This Cast to join the conversation, to give us those tries every month. You can also leave us 5-star reviews on iTunes. It is very helpful to people finding our show. And that is all the things I have to say. Thank you so much.
That's it. That's beautiful. That's a great segue. Thank you for joining us on all this Marvel content. If you think we're very good at talking about things Marvel, let Marvel know, because you know what? We need more jobs. It would be great to be paid to talk about Marvel stuff.
I think you might have shed on Jeremy Renner a little too much for that to happen.
Jeremy Renner doesn't have to be on our Marvel podcast. It's fine. Okay. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We love you. And good night.
You forgot to say go out there and try some things.
Oh, yeah. Now go out there and try some things. Try it. Don't forget it. Bye.
Friends get together so they can try things. Young Violent podcast so that you can try things. Now we will stop singing so that we can all now try this.
A dazzling place I never knew. Nick, why doesn't your camera work? I can't hear you, and all I want to do is talk to my friend. Talk to my friend about Hawkeye. I hope you listen to this when you're editing, and you have a little special treat for yourself.